Hello, and welcome to Live Vedanta, a podcast about simple living and high thinking. In our last episode of 2025, we explore Chapter 3, Verse 37 of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita. In it, Shri Krishna explains the nature of sin and the inner forces, like desire and anger, that drive us to act against our will. These vices steal our inner peace and block right action, reminding us that to overcome outer enemies, we must first conquer our inner enemies through self-love. Let's tune in.
Those who look around, they get distracted. I'm about to share a verse on that. And one more beautiful insight from some of these verses is Prince Arjuna continues to actively listen, and he asks Shri Krishna, what causes a human to act in a way that they know to be wrong? They know what is right, but it's like they're forced to do that which is wrong. How many of you can relate to this? You don't have your hand up. It's because you didn't hear me. Fix your Wi-Fi or listen more carefully. What verse are we on now? What verse? Yes, 37. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Kama Esha Krodha Eshaha Rajo Guna Samudbhavaha Mahashano Mahapapma Vidyenam Iha Vairinam. Joy. A dense verse. I will share 1/3 of the insights today, 2/3 tomorrow. Shri Krishna shares what forces one to not follow through is kama and krodha in order. Kama is desire, krodha is anger. Condensing these, when one is unhappy, all they know is to try to find happiness externally. So desires are triggered, anger is triggered. For one who is a sincere seeker, they also are unhappy, but in their sincerity, they know they're not going to find it outside. These are expressions of rajaguna, aggressiveness, samudbhavaha. It is born from this, and there are more expressions of this. This gives birth to this gives birth to this. In chapter 2, it is verses 62 and 63, where Shri Krishna describes what we popularly know as the ladder of fall. The ladder of fall starts with Vishaya Dhyayataha, which means distraction. Starts with distraction, and do you know what it ends with? Annihilation. You're alive, but dead. One goes from being a seeker to a searcher, like you're falling down, to a sucker. One who just lives tricking themselves. For those in our Narada Bhakti Sutra course, it is incredible how these teachings are aligned. This very verse and the reference to chapter 2 will come out tonight when we study different sutras. The divine wants you to know this. In so many ways, this is being shared. Third quarter, Maha Ashanaha. These vices are the great consumers of your quietude, of your personality. Mahapapma, it is the great cause for wrongness, sinning. But here's the most important part of this verse. Vidhi, what you should know, iha, here. Now, vairinam, these are your enemies. Prince Arjuna, in his immaturity, thinks Duryodhana is his enemy, Karna is his enemy. But here Shri Krishna shares, here and now, your enemies are desire and anger. I've shared with you many times, if you have inner enemies, you will have outer enemies. If you don't have inner enemies, you won't have outer enemies. So if you find a lot of people don't like you, maybe you don't like yourself. If you find a lot of people love you, maybe you've learned to love yourself. Bhagavad Gita's chapter 1 has the theme of fear. Chapter 2, fearlessness. Chapter 3, dedication. We took up verses 9, 21, 30, and we had just completed 37. In verse 37, Shri Krishna is sharing the reason why we're unable to follow through is desire and anger. When we are honest with ourselves, this cultivates humility, the humility that I'm not happy right now. I may not tell another person, but the fact that I have desire and anger is indicative that I am unhappy. Happy people don't have desires, which means they don't have anger. So everyone who has an anger problem has a happiness problem too. But that requires humility, which comes from honesty. This flow of desire and anger, Shri Krishna just gives a glimpse of this in this chapter. In chapter 2, he gave the full range. If Vivek is neutral, my mind is not loud, my mind is not quiet, my mind is my mind. What is the full view of this fall that I can experience? This starts off with being distracted. If I don't check myself, I fall more into attachment. So being distracted, being attached. Next fall, being desirous. I'm sharing this fuller picture because I want to amplify how dangerous it is to be a distracted person, to not check that. This is why in all of our courses, in all of our spaces, I emphasize the need to unitask. If I'm speaking, you're either listening or listening and writing, and that's it. If you happen to be driving, that's a different matter. Being distracted, being attached, being desirous, then being angry. That's next in this fall. And that's only half, everyone. And if I don't check myself there, the next fall is me being deluded, me being amnesic, me being devolved where I'm not even a human anymore. I look like one, but I don't have that inner world like a human. And finally, being annihilated. The whole opportunity to evolve in this present field is annihilated. I'm sharing this because some of us may take desire and anger casually. But Shri Krishna just shared 2 out of 8 falls in this verse. More insights. These are Maha Ashana, Maha Papma. These bring out the worst in us. I was trying to visualize that desire and anger are like a riptide. Do you all know what a riptide is? It's a pool of water that you don't notice, that you think that you're stronger than, but once you're in that riptide, you're shocked that this was there, and you're shocked at how strong it is, and that riptide takes you into the ocean. For us, this riptide takes us into Naraka, into hell. In chapter 17, we flowed through the 3 gates to hell, are Kama, Krodha, and Lobha. 2 gates are mentioned here. And Shri Krishna's final insight in this verse is, these are your enemies. You actually don't have outer enemies. You only have inner enemies. The way to manage desire is to go beyond desire. Desire management, I'm going to desire a little bit of this and fulfill it, desire a little bit of that and fulfill it. That doesn't work. One has to go beyond desire. In Sanskrit, we call that mumukshutva. That I desire desirelessness. Final insight, because this is a profound verse, in a practical way, a way to live going beyond anger and desire is to practice acceptance. Commit yourself to developing acceptance. You will know you're doing this if you become less angry and more appreciative. More appreciative. By practicing acceptance, I'm less angry. By practicing acceptance, I'm more appreciative. Appreciative is a fight, is an enemy to desire.